All right, we're live. Hello, my name is Melanie Dizon. I'm the Director of Education and Content at the Davis Phinney Foundation. I'm here with Brian Reedy, my dear friend Brian Reedy. He's an ambassador for the Davis Phinney Foundation, among other things. How you doing, Brian?
Doing well.
Good.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Where are you right now?
Near Huntington Beach, a town called Westminster, but I'm a block from Huntington Beach, California.
That sounds pretty great.
It actually is, though I'm not taking advantage of getting to the beach because the roads are a little hectic. I'm looking to buy now because I've been renting for a year, and I'm going to try to get something that at least has easier access to the beach, because the beach is, when I went to college here, I'd go there after a tough day, and you just sit out there and you just feel all that stress just melt away. And the people are just chill there. And
Yeah.
every time I've been there since I moved down here, it's the same way.
Oh, so where'd you go to school?
Just relax. I went to Golden West College right after I got out of the Air Force. Went to Golden West College for 2 years, and then I went to Cal State Fullerton for 2 years.
All right. Well, let's start there. What did you do? What were you doing out of college? Who's Brian?
Well, actually, I should tell a little bit what I did in the Air Force, because that's a pretty amazing job. It's got the weirdest job description. So I was a flight crew member. So you have a pilot, co-pilot, navigator. They're all officers, and I'm enlisted. I'm the only enlisted crew member. And my job was in-flight refueling. So another aircraft would fly up at 30,000 feet, and I'd lower this boom down and fly it into their receptacle, and we'd offload fuel for half an hour. And I was in charge of the aircraft as far as, when we need to break away if there was a problem, stuff like that. So my job description was, I had 3 officers drive me to work so I could lay on my belly and pass gas.
Oh my God.
Because the pod that I controlled everything with you had to crawl into this little pod at the bottom of the aircraft, and you lay on your belly, and all your controls are here, your rudder rated control stick, your sliding door, all this stuff. It just was a funny way to describe things. But it was really cool because, I came out of high school. I pretty much graduated with the lowest GPA possible.
Lowest GPA and still get the paper.
Yeah, I had a 1.7 GPA.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, folks who are watching, note that your GPA doesn't have any indication of your success in life.
No. And that I'll explain that in a bit too. But it was a great job because I was such a lost kid. I got kicked out of the house before high school graduation. I got kicked out of high school graduation. I ended up homeless. I was living out of my car. I had multiple arrests, and the last one was multiple felonies. And it was easily explainable stuff, just roommate problems. But my roommate was a drug addict, and it went too far. Yeah.
Proximity.
But the judge was understanding, and he just knew I needed to straighten my life out. So the lawyer said, you need to join the service or something. So I did. I chose the Air Force because I thought it would be fun. My uncle did it, and he was my hero. So I ended up getting actually the same job my uncle had. So
wow.
But yeah, so that got me. The Air Force humbled me. I got to travel around the world because I refueled the SR-71, which in the 1980s, that was the fastest plane in the world.
Wow.
And it's America's spy plane. And we were the only squadron that could refuel it because he carried a special fuel. So I got to go to England and Japan and Korea, and I probably hit 48 of the 50 states, and just really saw the world. And it humbled me deeply. It's like, man, I am just so selfish. I had no idea how, like, the profound, what's the word I hate when this happens. Just like in Korea, where nobody has really anything, the profound disparity, and yet the happiness that these people had, and all they had was a slice of land with a little shanty shack, and yet when you'd see them, they just smiled, and they just knew that what they had was good, and that just really humbled me a lot, and then that gave me the interest in going back to school, and I struggled, and I went back, and I had a really good, I went to community college down here at Golden West, and got to work on the school as a newspaper editor,
That's always
photography editor.
a very
Oh
cool
yeah. Well, I don't know if you remember, but back in the 80s and 90s, Marilyn McCoo was a big thing. She was a Solid Gold
Oh, yes.
show, and she was like #1 in the country. Well, she came to our college campus, and we're interviewing her.
Marilyn McCoo. I mean, I am so loving that you said her name. Like,
Oh,
God,
she is just
how'd you pull that out?
grace in action. This
Yeah.
woman just blew me away, because I'd met a few celebrities and photographed some, like you might have heard of Ronald Reagan or Geraldine Ferraro, or
Just a little bit.
some of them. But Marilyn McCoo, she sat with us, and I mean, she's like #1 in the world, and she's sitting there asking me how I'm doing in school and what I'm going to do afterwards.
That's why she's
She
#1
was
in the
so intrigued.
world.
Yeah, but she was so intrigued with us, the gal that was interviewing her and myself, and she was just so beautiful and so graceful and so genuine and just kind to, we're just junior college, hacks. But that to me, I think, really spoke volumes about being a quality person. So she really taught me a lot in that moment. But I had tremendous experiences there. And then that got me to, I did a photography major at Cal State Fullerton. Got to meet Annie Leibovitz. She's a phenomenon. And just the college experience down here, just met so many famous people, but it wasn't the fame that mattered to me. I found famous people, if anything, are harder, but it's the exposure to opportunities to do, like photographing a press conference where Ronald Reagan was announcing his re-election campaign. And I was making mistakes with my camera, and the guy for CBS Nationwide was helping me. And it's just, those kinds of opportunities to work with people like that and get things just really grew my sense of what I could do. So anyway, I graduated college and worked as a tech writer for a couple of years in Southern California. And then I moved back up where my family is in Northern California. And I was there at a time when it was just right, because, I'd been kicked out of the house. And actually, it's really a neat story. My dad hadn't hugged me in 5 or 6 years since he kicked me out of the house. So I was allowed to come back into family events, but we have a big hugging family. He'd embrace everybody, but he wouldn't embrace me. And it really hurt me for years. And then he comes up to me, I think it was towards the end of my junior year or beginning of my senior year. But I'm at the home one time visiting, and he walks into the room that I'm in, and he closes the door, and I'm like, oh crap, what did I do now? He said, Brian, when you said you were going to go to college, I didn't think you'd make one semester. You made the semester. I didn't think you'd finish the year. You made the year. I thought for sure you won't make 2. You made 2. You made 3. He said, I couldn't be more proud of you than I am right now.
Aww.
He said, you proved me wrong. I know I made it hard on you, but I did that because I wanted to see what you could do with yourself, and you've blown me away. And it was like, this absolute hallmark moment. I love my father profoundly. He died last year.
Oh.
And he was in hospice, and we made jokes the whole time.
Oh, yeah. I feel like hospice is a lot of times it's for that.
Yeah. Yeah. When I got to him, he had just learned the night before that he was dying. And I got there that day. All my other brothers and sisters were in the Bay Area, so I had to come over. And it's the first time I'd gotten to see him since Lily had passed. I'd seen him, but not to hug him because of COVID. I could be in the backyard with him, but had to stay whatever. And so he gives me this great big hug, and he says, hey, I know I'm dying. And he's looking me in the face, and he's just got this big smile. He says, and I'm okay with that. I'm 90 years old. I've had a great life, and everything I care about is right here. Everybody I love is here. And that's all that matters.
That's a gift. That's a gift that someone dying
can give. Beautiful gift.
Yeah.
Well, and my mother-in-law was the same way. She passed away a couple of months after he did, at the age of 100. And the last time I visited with her, I was just holding her hand. I have this picture of us holding hands because I didn't want to take a picture of her because she had a bruise from a fall. So I thought I'll just take a picture of our hands holding. And it's one of my favorite pictures.
Aww.
But she was this most beautiful woman. And she kind of pulls my hand, like kind of like something. And she just looks at me and I'm like, okay, she wants me to say something. I don't know what. So I just told her why I love her. I spent about 5 minutes just saying why I love her specifically, just for all the grace and beauty that she had in her life. And I didn't know that was the last time I would see her, but I thought, what a great gift. That's a tremendous opportunity. So yeah, I think
Christopher says hospice is amazing. No joke.
Yeah.
It really is.
Oh, the people that work there are angels. I think they're all.
Yeah. Speaking of angels, it seems like you've had quite a few in your life, Brian. You had that judge who said you need to go to the military, or was it the lawyer? You had the who was that other one? The photographer, the
Marilyn McCoo.
Marilyn McCoo. You had Marilyn McCoo. You had your dad. And more
my
along
dad's
the way.
my big one.
So you ended up as a teacher.
Yeah, which is really weird because I graduated at the bottom, got kicked out of high school graduation. But
Dad, you were the exact kind of person who needed to be teaching those kids.
I needed to hit the ground hard.
Right?
I needed some humility. I was very, very selfish with my family, and that's because my family is a very loving family. But I had a lot of anger in me that I didn't really understand where it came from, and I've actually been unraveling it now, but that's another story for another day. But it's more getting humility was what I needed to find. And so, the Air Force gave me that by seeing all these people in disparity, by seeing all these people who were just doing beautiful things with little. And I just, people in England were just the most kind and gentle type people, or else they were really excited. And because we were in the Air Force, we'd get guys would come by and talk about our airplanes, and soon you'd see everybody using their hands to describe different flying scenarios and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I think I've been blessed with a lot of the right people. I had a great professor at high school, at college, and high school actually. And those were my icons as a teacher. My drama teacher in high school, she was the one person that I knew I couldn't pull crap on. So she was the one teacher that I behaved for. She was a theater teacher. And when I became a teacher, I wrote to her and told her that she's my idol and she's what I want to be like. And then 10 years later, family had a reunion back out in Chicago, and I brought her to the reunion because she also taught my brothers. It was just beautiful. Fun. Donna Mavros, just
we need teachers like that. We need people like that aren't going to let us get away with stuff, right?
Well, and she taught me, you can be disciplined and you can have really strong rules and still be fun.
Right.
And, teachers were either goofy and they didn't care about anything, or they were really strict and they weren't having fun. And she pulled that middle ground really well.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that is a tough middle ground.
Yeah.
It's that's why it's so memorable when people are able to pull it off.
Yeah.
Because
and that's what I tried to do.
It's not easy.
But I think I feel like, there's a story I was thinking of telling. This old farmer has one horse, and he's got his little farm, and that's all he's got. And then one day his horse runs away, and the whole community comes up to him. Oh my gosh, such bad luck. Oh, that's just horrible. He's like, good luck, bad luck. Who knows? He's just indifferent to the whole thing. And then a month later, the horse comes back with 10 other wild horses. It's like, wow, what good luck. And again, he's like, good luck, bad luck, who knows? And then his son comes over and has helped training one of the horses and breaks his leg. And everybody's like, oh, what bad luck, and he's like, oh, good luck, bad luck. And then the military comes by and they're grabbing young men to conscript for the service, and they can't take him because he's got a broken leg. And everybody's like, oh, how amazing, and his reaction. And that's kind of how I look at my life is you can't look at your adversities and say, wow, that really sucks. I mean, you do, but you can't linger on it. Because number one, you can't measure one adversity to another. And number two, there's always going to be something better.
Yeah, it's always, just a little picture.
Always something better. Yeah. I used to teach my students. I lost 3 students to suicide my first 3 years of teaching. And I spent the next 17 years teaching my students about positivity in the face of adversity. And I had students come up because it was a day where we just put the curriculum aside and I had this great lesson. And they really were engaged and they'd share these stories. And so one time this kid comes up to me at the end of the thing and I told the story about being homeless and sitting outside of McDonald's waiting to get food out of the dumpster and waiting for people to stop coming by. And he said, Mr. Reedy, you were really lucky. I said, how's that? He says, you had a car. He says, my family and I, we live down by the river. We just have a shopping cart. And I'm tearing up just remembering it. It's just like, that's the absolute proof that you can't measure one adversity to another. It's what you've been given and what you've lost is different for everyone in life.
Yeah. Everyone has a story.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No one's getting out of this just smooth sailing.
So the big story.
Okay, well, real quickly, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Ishan. This is a good stream. I don't have Parkinson's, but I can't pronounce that correctly. And MS. I saw the thumbnail description of laughter yoga, so I came. Well, you stay. I promise we're going to talk about it. We're absolutely going to talk about it. Brian, let's talk a little bit about like your diagnosis. What happened?
Yeah.
How did you start to feel it? And what took you to the doctor?
So I was teaching and I had this weird, I think it was my pinky. It was one of my pinky or the second finger, but it was just tremoring really bad. All of a sudden I noticed it one day and then it was doing that for like a week. And I'm just like, this is weird. And it wasn't going away. And I had a car accident before that and had a traumatic brain injury, all kinds of other stuff we don't need to go into, but that's probably what started it. The Parkinson's, they said, because it's genetic and environmental. And I think that was my fifth major head trauma because I got rear-ended by a guy doing 65 miles an hour and I was waiting to go turn left.
Wow.
And I called Lily and I said, honey, I've been in a little fender bender, but I'm okay. And she didn't believe me. And she came out and she's like, holy crap.
It kind of reminds me of the time you called and you said, I've had a little accident and you lost your thumb.
Oh yeah. But so I had the tremor at first in the pinky, and then I'm walking, and this is a year after that accident, and my wife Lily noticed that my right arm wasn't swaying, and I had a torn rotator cuff. I said, maybe it's that, and we went and saw the shoulder guy, and he said, nope, do this, do that. He says, no, your arm's fine. So I don't know why it's not moving. So I think he said, go see a neurologist. We went to see a neurologist and she said, wow. And, she had me do all the other tests. And she says, if you were 80, I'd say it's Parkinson's, but you're too young. I was 48. She can't be Parkinson's. So we spent 2 years till we got the diagnosis. So to get to laughter yoga, because that's really what fuels everything nowadays. Because when I first learned about it, I didn't know half of what I know now. But yeah,
so let's I want to put you back in that spot of, I don't know anything about laughter yoga.
Yeah.
And somebody says, hey, Brian, have you heard of laughter yoga? What goes through your head and how'd you get there?
So with the Parkinson's diagnosis, and this is interesting, when the guy diagnosed us, he didn't tell us anything about exercise or anything, but he looked at my wife, Lily, and he says, you're going to be his care partner for life, or caregiver for life. And we walk outside the door and we're just outside the door. We haven't taken one step. And she looks at me, she says, I just want you to know, I'm not going to be your caregiver. I'm like, well, what? She says, we're in this together. I'm your care partner. Mm-hmm. And I'd never heard that phrase before. So I thought she made it up. Oh. That's what we were. So she wanted me to go to the 2013 World Parkinson's Congress. And I wanted to go to that because I wasn't wanting to look at anything online. She was always reading stuff online and she was scared to death about everything because she read all the horrific stuff. So when she got this option, I said, yeah, let's do it. And while we were there, they had a renewal room and it said laughter yoga. And I thought, okay, I got to see what that is. That just sounds weird. And this gentleman named Peter, Davison, without a D, Davison. Davison taught the class, just a classic gentleman, just really super cool, very funny. But laughter yoga isn't about humor. And so he's teaching us these exercises. And we're going, ha, 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 and we're bending as we're bending, we're expelling air. And he explained, a lot of that. And I thought, well, this is kind of cool. This is a great thing I can use as an icebreaker in the classroom, to get the kids when we're having that slow time, because you got to do the lecture thing or whatever, break it up, make it a little more fun. And so I did that off and on for years, and I taught it at our Parkinson support group and stuff. But and I took 2 classes last year or a year and a half ago, and I got more intrigued. And then in January, I just said, okay, I'm going to take that teacher class because I really want to learn more about this. And so I did the beginning one again, and I did the teacher class. And oh my gosh, all these bells went on, like, oh my gosh, the way this can hit people with Parkinson's, the way this can help everybody, but especially people with Parkinson's, because we have that dopamine problem. And I've dealt with such depression issues. And it's like, what you're doing basically is you're cleansing your brain with the positive chemistry. And they say that laughter is the one time that you're fully present. Because when you laugh, you can't think backwards, you can't think forward. You're thinking that. So when you do mindfulness, you're aiming to get fully present, but you're bouncing until you really train yourself well. Laughter, you're there. It's interesting. So I keep learning more and more about this. But the things that I learned from Dr. Kataria, he's the gentleman who started this thing in 1995. He was a stressed out doctor, and he just heard laughter is the best medicine, and he decided to check it out. So 5 friends went out to a park in Mumbai, and they started telling jokes and laughing, and it was pretty good. But he said by the end of the week, the jokes were getting stale and dirty, and it just was kind of losing its zeal.
And there's a lot of thinking in that. If you got to tell a joke, your head is just in the thinking and the doubting and the questioning and the right.
That's why Parkinson's people don't tell many jokes.
Get to the laughing.
But so he did some quick studying, and he found some studies that showed that the brain doesn't know the difference. When you're laughing, the brain doesn't know if it's fake laughter or real laughter. And so you get the same kick from it. You get those endorphins, and you get the dopamine and the I wrote them down in case I forgot them because I knew I would.
Serotonin, oxytocin.
Serotonin, there you go, and adrenaline and endorphins, all of that for free. But now what Dr. Kataria was telling us in the teacher class is you have to do this. You have to commit to doing this for at least 15 minutes a day for 30 days. At least, to start to get it, to really get it. Because, I was getting it. It was kind of good. But so I started doing that. Oh my gosh.
Is it getting it physically, physiologically, or getting the result? What does the getting it mean?
It's like bodybuilding.
Got it.
You're building your muscles. You can't suddenly start, curling 50 pounds. You have to start with 15 and get there.
You're
but then
building
you
your
walk into the gym
laughing
one day and so you're getting the laughter muscles. You're getting the diaphragm. You're getting all the gut and the brain used to it and stuff like that, so that you can give that good, strong, hearty laugh. Because really what laughter yoga is about is clearing out all the old stale air, bringing in the new, which is what yoga does. It's about the breathing and the centric breathing and getting all the old oxygen out and the new or air out, new air in, and stuff like that. So, we do stretches like he'll say, let's stretch the lower lobe of our lung. Go ahead and do this with me, Mel. Put your hands together and then bring them back behind your head. So you get kind of wings here. So we're going to do that. But as you do it, I want you to draw your breath in. So, and then what you do is you laugh it out. You go, so, and then you go and go and go. Hard to do when I haven't drank in a while. Hang on. It is so cool when you do this with a group of people, because it's fake at first, but it gets more real. But I think you could hear my laugh was pretty hearty. It's worked out. And my dad used to say I used to always laugh a lot as a kid. So the other things we do is we do clapping. So we go ho ho ha ha ha, ho ho ha ha ha. But he wants you to clap hand to hand, because what you're doing then is acupressure. And like I have this graph here, and this is a whole thing. They have this clapping thing, but you're hitting all these acupressure points that are doing these good things for you. Okay. And then another thing he has us do is it's a lion stretch in yoga. And it's where you, I think you stick your tongue out and you make the lion face or something like that. So he says in laughter yoga, we do it, but we laugh while we do it, and you stick your tongue out as far as you can. And he says you do it with childlike playfulness, because he says the studies show that, children laugh like an average of 400 times a day. Adults laugh like 15 times a day.
Mm.
Where did
That
we
even
lose
seems
all
like a
that
lot. I got to be honest.
childlike playfulness? So it's like, but so he says, that's one of the main tenets is do all this laughter yoga with childlike playfulness. So when we do the lion stretch, we'll do the breath in and we let it out and we stick our tongue out as far as we can. Well, that's also your vagus nerve, which is your biggest nerve in your body. And that, by stretching that, you're increasing your swallowing abilities. You're increasing your speaking abilities. You're increasing your ability to swallow better. It's like Parkinson's major all over the place. And just that stimulation of, because we're lacking dopamine. And that's why the non-motor aspects of Parkinson's include mood, because dopamine, aside from helping the legs move, helps the mood stabilize. You're doing this, you're getting all that stuff that hopefully the pills are giving you, but they're not. And so it's just, as I learned all of this, it's like, oh my God, this is a whole new level of what I thought I knew. And the physiology of it is just amazing. And there's still 5 more classes I want to take where he goes deeper into the physiology. So I'm really excited about that. And then this year I get to teach it at the Renewal Room at the 2023 World Parkinson's Congress in Barcelona.
Cool. So cool.
So once I was able to announce it, my first thing I did was I wrote to Peter Davison in Canada, because Peter is not able to teach it anymore because of problems with his voice. And I just said, I'm carrying your legacy on. And I'm just so proud. I'm getting goosebumps, riddled with goosebumps. He's just a beautiful man. He's written some beautiful books, and it's all about that kind of stuff that I've learned through life is, dealing positive with adversity that you're dealt with.
Yeah.
And to be able to just and hit it on a 10-year anniversary, I'm just very honored.
Oh, yeah. I remember in Boulder when we did the leadership conference. I guess it was like 2019, maybe. Or 2018. I don't know, long time ago when it was here. And you did the laughter yoga session. And
that was before I knew what I know now.
Yeah. And no one knew you didn't know what you know now when you were up there. But I will say, if let's say somebody's, there's a singing thing and you're supposed to start clapping. I'm not that person. I'm not doing that. I'm not getting in the clapping. I'm not singing. I'm not getting up and dancing. That is just not what I'm going to do. And so I was like, oh gosh, oh gosh, she's going to do this laughter yoga. It's a fake laugh. What are we going to do? And you saw it on a lot of people's faces. A lot of people were ready to go, but a lot of people were just kind of looking around oh gosh, are we going to do this? And then by the end, no one wanted it to end. It was so fun and it's loud. Yeah. Like you said, other people, it's loud and it's funny.
You feed off each other.
Laugh. And it's just, it really is. But you mentioned the depression, and I want to talk about how people can get involved for sure with online laughter yoga. But I want to talk a little bit about how you use it, how it's helping you, how sort of drawn on it over the years. And, even when you're in a really rough place, what it does for you.
Yeah. Well, that's a great question, because I'm, as good as I might sound, I'm in one of the roughest places I've been in my life right now. And so the laughter yoga it's my salvation. It's better than any antidepressant, better than any kind of medication, self-medication or otherwise, that you can possibly imagine. And it's free and it's natural.
Yeah. And I'm going to put this up so people can see it. I mean, this is your other free therapy right here, Charlie boy. Charlie is also free therapy. He wasn't free, but he is
not free.
Daily free therapy now. Look at that little baby boy.
Yeah.
The booster. And then this is it, right? This is the everyday thing. You do it every single day.
Mm-hmm.
In the morning.
Yeah. So for us, it's I think it's 5:30 in the morning for the morning group, which I haven't done yet. And it's 7:00 at night. So you got to just go on Google and have the time translations come in, because when we were on spring forward, fall back, what's that time?
Right. Daylight savings.
Daylight savings, we were doing it at 6, and then we changed to 7 because they don't do daylight savings.
Oh, right. So if you can go to laughteryoga.org/zoom-laughter-club.
Yeah.
And and you can just show up as much as you want. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So that's absolutely free. And so that's really what's my saving grace now, because after taking the class and I learned all that stuff, it's like, yeah, okay. And I was just getting hit harder with things that were bothering me. And I wasn't taking stock in what I had learned and with Dr. Kataria, and he and I were able to do some personal email exchanges. I can't believe he writes back. I mean, he must be so busy. But he's written me a few times, but he's writing back and he says, you have to get in there and you have to do the club and you have to laugh every day. And it's just like, dude, you have no idea how bad I feel. That might sound good, but you have no idea what's going on in my life. You have no idea. And so I just kept blowing it off. And then I had a really bad episode about 3 months ago and had to call the suicide hotline. And I don't want to commit suicide. I spent 17 years teaching my kids positivity in the face of adversity. I don't know why the thoughts come in. And I read when I first had my first one, that was my third one. When I had my first one years ago, Lily was still alive. I read that it's common in Parkinson's to have suicidal ideations. And that made me so angry because nobody had ever talked about that. And it's only now with Davis Phinney and Joanne Hamilton spoke about it about 6 months ago, a year ago. That's the first time I'd heard anybody say it in a big public forum. So I don't know why I get the thoughts. And there's a lot of things. And my depression is not related to losing Lily, my absolute love. I dealt with that.
That's a very important thing for you, for people to know. Can you talk about why that's important for people to know?
Yeah, because I think people, Lily's life, Lily and I had such a beautiful life together. And when she died, it's like we had lived with the whole diagnosis with cancer. We found humor every day. In fact, the first day we go into hospice, we called Pat and Sydney Donahue, and we're telling them, and they're all sad and we're all crying and stuff. And then Pat's trying to change the moment, and he says, "So Brian, COVID just began a few months ago. Are you growing your beard again? You showering? What?" And I said, "Oh yeah, no, I'm not showering. I'm growing my beard." And he says, "Well, man, you must really stink." And Lily says, "Yeah, I'm over here dying." It's like, you just laugh at it, or that, like, when I lost my thumb in the saw accident, it's because I was preoccupied because the next day we were going to find out if she was metastatic or not. And I shouldn't have been doing anything, but I was using power tools and took my thumb off. And I just realized that wasn't what was important. And once I got to the hospital, the ambulance guys went to the lung hospital so they could reattach it. And so the meds had kicked in, and so I'm feeling fine. And it's like the ambulance guys are like, "Hey, Mr. Reedy, we're going to head out now, but they'll take good care of you, and you'll have good surgeons and everything." I said, "Oh, you guys are great. I'd give you 2 thumbs up, but I'm a little low on resources right now." And it just went downhill from there.
Yeah.
Lily said, "Oh, we got a new theme song for you. I fought the saw and the saw won." And we just laughed the whole night in recovery room, because the next day, we knew it was coming, I think, but we didn't talk about it. But we just found laughter was our thing. Yeah. And that was our healing thing. Yeah. So I think your question was about.
Well, Lily. It's you often say, like, this isn't because of Lily.
Yeah. So when she died, we went through hospice so beautifully. And when she was gone, it was kind of like, whoa, you can't be ready for that. It's like, wait, she's gone, but all her stuff is here, which is logical, but it doesn't seem right, because you're so used to when she's gone, her stuff is gone, but her earrings are there, her everything. And it was just so, at first it was kind of like, I'm okay, and then it hits you. And then it's just like, how do I live without her? Because we had learned to live together so well, because, a year after we got married, I had the accident, and then, all of that, and then the Parkinson's diagnosis. And then I retired from school, and she said, "Oh, I should retire with you." I was like, "No, I need a year to figure myself out." well, then she got cancer. And so a year later, she retired. And we just took care of each other. We just always had each other. So she's gone now. And it's like, how do I live without her? Because she was my everything. And so it took me about 6 months. And I don't like to say the length of time because it took me the process in my brain to let it go.
Yeah.
But some amazing things happened. And I got this amazing support group from Chicago that a dear friend of mine connected me with. And because I grew up out there and she's one of my lifelong friends. And they just helped me get to a better place. And I remember one day in February, I woke up and I just said out loud, I want to live. And I'm in there and I'm showering and I'm singing like I used to. I used to sing to Lily, you are my sunshine. And I sing really well in the shower. But so I'm singing again, and I converted the garage to a physical therapy space, and I got in shape and I lost 65 pounds. And I'm living well, and I'm living with her in my life. So everything was great as far as that part of the depression. What happened was other consequential things with family that I won't get into, but they were devastating and they crushed me. And one incident in particular is now what I've just recently been diagnosed with for PTSD. And it's brutal, and PTSD is brutal. And my meds are changing. My dyskinesias are worse. My tremors are worse. My off times are worse. So I'm thinking the depression challenges I'm having are because of the meds.
So are you on PTSD meds or your Parkinson's meds are changing?
My Parkinson's meds are changing. I got diagnosed with the PTSD a week ago. Well, I got diagnosed about a year ago, but it was an informal when they did my neuropsych exam, and words came up that took me to the event. I completely shut down. And she said, in the 12 years I've been testing you, I've never seen you shut down. And so anyway, so the depression got really bad 3 months ago, and I had finished the class a month before that. And I just said, okay, nothing else is working, because I've got a psychologist now, and I've got a psychiatrist, I've got a team, but medicine's not doing it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get admitted to a hospital. I wanted to get admitted with a hospital that had mental health care and Parkinson's care. And that's when I contacted the Davis Phinney organization, and then all kinds of world lit up to show me I'm not alone, which is what I was feeling. And that alone helped, but I didn't have anything significantly change as far as treating it. And I just thought, okay, I feel better. I don't feel alone, but I still got to do something. So I'm going to take him up on his offer. And so I started doing the Laughter Yoga Club, and I did it. I think I missed 2 days in the first 35 or so. And I could feel it happening. I could feel it changing. I could feel it. So now, just what depression, for me at least, is you get stuck on a bad thought, like, why is this happening? Or why did this person do that? And I ruminate on it. I fixate on it. And I keep trying to find a way to fix it and make it feel better, that I can tell them this and maybe that'll fix everything. And, Lily always tried to teach me, Brian, you can't fix everything. You have to learn to let go of things. And so I've been hearing that voice more. It's like, okay, so I'm letting go, but what am I doing? So the next time after I started doing these classes, probably about 2 weeks into it, I started having some really dark thoughts. I just, okay, let's give it a shot. So here they come. And I just started laughing. And then I'm kind of laughing at myself laughing. And so I'm kind of laughing more genuinely, which doesn't matter, but they're all gone. All the dark thoughts were gone. I couldn't even remember what they were, because I did that for a few minutes. And that's what I do now. And the other day I was, Southern California traffic is like insane. And so I usually don't drive on the freeways and stuff. I just do local stuff. But I had to go to this new doctor, and Parkinson's and getting out the door, just the two, being on time for things, very difficult. And so I'm really late. And it's like, why isn't everybody speeding like I am?
Yeah.
And it was a rainy day. And so, like somebody's approaching the light and they're thinking, oh, it's going to turn yellow. I'm going to stop now before it hits yellow so I don't have to stop. And I'm just like, wah! And I pounded the wheel. I'm like, and I thought, what the hell? I never do this. And I just started laughing. and it all went away. And so the way I look at it from everything I've learned from Dr. Kataria is what you're doing is, all these negative hormones or your stress hormones are coming in. They're eking in and they're saying, ha ha ha, we got you. We're going to play nasty. And you're saying, no, I don't want you. And you're flushing them out with all these positive hormones.
Yeah. It's like a pattern interrupt.
Exactly. Exactly right. And so that's the beauty of it. So when you start to do it regularly, when you can look forward to doing it, like last night, I didn't want to do it because I was stressed and I thought I'm going to get to bed early so I can do well on this interview. I thought, well, I'll just peek at it really quick, but yeah, I'm not going to do it. And then it's just like, just second you turn it on, and honest to God, these faces of these people, it's international. So there's people from all over the world. And I hadn't thought of it this way until somebody in one of the groups that I work with, I told them about it, and they went in and they said, yeah, people from all these different cultures. I just see it as all these beautiful people. But if you got people from Japan and Germany and New Zealand, India, and they've just got these beautiful, beautiful faces. They're just cheering and doing the clapping and sticking their tongue out and making faces and playing like children. And oh my God, it's just absolute joy. And it's supposed to be half hour, but it almost always goes to about 40 minutes. And by the end, the last 10 minutes or so, we dance and laugh, and because it's all about the movement too and stuff. So
yeah,
it's a natural high. It's what keeps me grounded. What keeps me from going crazy, because I'm still, in a rough place. I'm not healed because I've got laughter yoga.
Right.
But what I can do is
a tool, right? It's a really important tool that works
very, very much better than pills.
Yeah. So I think that's, there's got to be a balance, right? Like you use this tool and you find other things that bring you joy and that keep you, living well. And you're also working on the stuff that is bringing those dark thoughts, right? Like
absolutely.
You've got a team, you've got people that you're working with, and you're not sweeping it under the rug and just hoping that this gets better. And it's not one or the other. It's just both, right?
You've got to fix the dam. So, the laughter is a patch. The laughter is a really good patch.
Yeah.
But it's not a replacement at all. And I think that's the one thing I've been fortunate with is I've had a team that likes to push me, because I need to be pushed. I don't want just, finding a psychologist is like dating. You go to a psychologist, and if they're just appeasing you and they're just like, yeah. And they're talking about themselves and they're not. And then they say, okay, I'll see you next week. It's like, what?
Yeah. And, in fairness, it's tough, because when you go to a psychologist or you go to a counselor or therapist, you tell your story.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot out of you. And you're like, sunk cost. I'm just going to stick with it because I've already done this story. I don't want to keep telling it. I don't want to keep telling, starting over. But it can be a really sort of energetic drain in those initial sessions. But finding a great one is the difference between, actually making progress and just deciding to say, forget it, this isn't working.
Well, it's like everything we learn in Parkinson's. You have to advocate for yourself. You have to find the right doctor that you can work with. And some of us don't have a choice because it's the only doctor in the region. But we do have a choice if we can have transportation to get to a further one, or find online offers or something. But and then even when we find doctors for other things, we still have to advocate for our medicines if we end up in the ER, or explain to our dentist that I'm going to be in the chair, but I'm going to have this tremors, and we're always advocating for ourselves. Well, we have to do the same thing when we're looking for mental health. And mental health is so important as physical health, and it just doesn't get that. It still has a bit of a stigma, but it's health. Exactly.
Health. So I think that I want to address this a little bit. There's guarantee there's going to be people watching that are also on their own. They're also living on their own, and they're trying to figure this out. And you had an amazing care partner in Lily. You were an amazing care partner for Lily as well. How are you doing this now? You moved. Not only did you, really change your life, you moved, now you're buying a house, and you're doing this on your own. Yeah. How are you doing it? What are you doing? What have you
day by day
set up? What are some systems? What are some tips you can give people who are doing the same thing?
I think the most important thing is don't settle. Know who you are and what you're capable of, and shoot at that. Don't go down a level. I was dating a wonderful person, but not right for me. Very negative at times, and it just, I can't be around negative. I'm too sensitive these days. I'm in a different growth pattern, and that just kind of brings me down. And so it was courageous to say this isn't right, because she's very beautiful and she's very attentive and she's very caring and she's very loving, and we've known each other. We dated when we were both started in college down here 35 years ago. And so it's just like, I'm sorry, but this isn't right. And, and I'm having worse and worse problems. And many times it's just like, God, if I kept her around, I could get some help. But it's like, no, you can't. So I think that's my biggest thing, is don't settle. It would have made life easier, definitely, to have somebody and get these things done. I'm struggling so hard to do it by myself and stay ahead of mail and all that. But the other thing is, be willing to ask for help the right way. So I'm with the VA, and I've said, okay, I'm having these bigger problems. I've had some falls in the house now. What can I do? And my psychologist said, well, you might qualify for this program where they come to your house and help you. I said, okay, but if I do something like that, that's not like it. I'm looking to grow out of that program as I get more independent. She said, great. And so, I've met all of them. I've been put into the program, and I've told them my hope is to be out of here in a year. That I can get the skills to do this myself. But their help is amazing. They're like, you need this. And I'm like, no, I don't. Yeah, you do. And like, Charlie helps me get out of the chair if I get frozen. But I was telling that to this one person, I forget her job description, but it's kind of like a kinesiologist, but it's something to do with aids in the home. She got me what's called a couch cane, which you can pull your weight on. So if I'm down on the floor doing stretches or something like that, and I can't get back up, I can pull on the couch cane. Or if I'm in the chair in the couch and I've gotten real comfortable, and then it's like, I can't move, I'm frozen, Charlie can get me, and I can keep a leash on the couch cane. So what Charlie's been trained to do, so he's a full trained service dog. If anybody, and you all should have fully, I've trained myself and I've got fully trained, but it's very expensive, $40,000. But
I'm putting him back up because he's so cute.
Yeah. I can hold a leash out and say, get that. And he'll come and he'll grab it and he'll pull until I move off the couch. Because that's with freezing, you just need somebody to get that momentum for you. But so they got me the couch cane, and then they got me, and this is so funny to be, young, 60, I'm 62. And I'm excited because I have a shower chair, because for the first time I can wash my lower legs without holding onto the shower and falling.
Yeah. And this is all from the VA helping.
And asking for help.
Yeah.
That's the big thing, is you got to ask for help.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go it alone. There's things out there. There's services out there. If you don't have the VA, which many people don't, you have at your local hospital social workers, and you can talk to the social workers there, and they can help you find grants and other things. So that's their goal. Is their job is, social workers aren't like they used to be. Social workers are incredible.
And they're incredible resources. They know everything in the community. They know everywhere to go, who to talk to.
When we had to do Lily's Care in San Francisco at USF, the first time we went there, I had to pay $350 a night for a hotel, and then $30 for parking every night. We talked to the social worker. The next time I had to pay $5 for the hotel and parking.
Yeah.
So social workers are a godsend, because we went there so many times, and it's just like, we would have been bankrupt. So, and I think the greatest thing, honestly, not to but a shameless plug for Davis Phinney Foundation, because that's really my base that's what got me moving when I had downhill for my first 5 years, and I went to the Victory Summit and learned about force intensive exercise, and that you can move, because I was on a cane all the time. We were looking at getting a walker. And now I can walk 4 miles a day, and I can ride a bike in contests and stuff like that. So it's that community, but it's also that learning. And now with COVID, your team, the education team there, you guys have all learned how to put this stuff up there for everybody. So there's so many resources within that. And that's the other thing is, aside from asking for help, you got to look for the right information. You got to get knowledgeable. And that's where I go to the website a lot. So I haven't watched a whole ton of the videos because I read a lot of the things. But you guys, I mean, your resources have quintupled or whatever. I don't even know how to describe it since COVID began, or in the last 3 or 5 years. You guys have really grown your resources out there. So, and you still have the other foundations, but the ones that teach the best are you guys. And then if you have a support group, I forget their name right now, but they teach you how to be a support group leader.
Yeah. Yep.
So
yeah, it's
in a nutshell.
There's a lot of people out there.
Yeah. I think the greatest thing, I'd say that out of everything I've learned, the greatest thing I've learned when I was going through Parkinson's and Lily was going through cancer and then metastatic breast cancer, we learned to find the beauty within something every day. And we actually learned this when my mom and her dad were dying. They both went into hospice at the same time in 2010. And every night we'd get together at her house and we'd sleep and we'd just talk about what happened. We ended up with something that was a funny story. I said, we need to do this for the rest of our lives. We never thought about it, but we did. Every night, some nights, oh my God, we would laugh so hard. So I talk to her now. Every night I end the night with a smile and I hold my hand under the pillow like I'm holding hers. So I'm not alone.
No.
I'm with her. She's with me. I feel it. But I think that's the thing is you look at each day and you say, what good happened today? And you look at that and it's there, baby. It's there every day. I mean, we got the cancer diagnosis and we found something to come out of the office with and laugh.
Yeah.
It's there. You just have to open your heart to it. So that's the big, I think that's the one thing Lily and I were really good at. And so that's why I don't want to fail her now. It's like, I don't want to give up and go to sadness. So I had to just learn how to do it on my own without her there physically.
Yeah. Physically.
So,
Well, you've been a huge resource for the Davis Phinney Foundation. You've been ambassador for such a long time. And everything from being at events and talking to people and writing and sharing your stories and all of those things are meaningful. And no matter where you find yourself on any day, we're always here and we're always ready to share a good laugh with you, Brian.
Thank you. And you guys are always there and I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I hope that everybody that ends up watching this will get to see you at the World Parkinson's Congress. And we will definitely do some laughter yoga for our community a little bit more specifically. We'll get maybe we'll get the whole staff on Zoom and we'll all be laughing and people can join. And I think
that's my goal is I'm actually even starting a whole new website and stuff. So I'm going to start getting classes going so I can get really in shape for this when I do it in Barcelona. So
yes, I love that you have to. I love that you have to get in shape. You have to get in laughing shape.
You have to get in laughing shape. It's the best medicine. It really is.
It is. Well, thank you so much for talking to me, Brian. And we will talk very soon, I'm sure.
Okay.
And say hi to Charlie for me.
I will. Thanks, Mel. Bye.